If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah. This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard, live downtown Las Vegas. Circa Resort and Casino is a spot. Very big 3-hour program lined up for you today. Along with all the games in the madness, there's a game going on as we speak. Matt Vasgersian, MLB Network, on the show coming up in 15 minutes. He'll join us for approximately a half an hour. We're going to go over his best Major League Baseball futures. We'll get into the Cy Young, Rookie of the Year markets as well. Steve Wist, the Meat Man, on soccer best bets. Bruce Marshall and Adam Burke a little bit later on. College basketball, Paulie, and we do have one game in the books already today from the Missouri Valley. There's one game going on right now. Missouri State leads Illinois State 17-16. Midway through here of their game in Arch Madness, Illinois State a 6-point favorite before the opening tip, total 133. These two teams did play twice during the regular season. Illinois State won both games, 74-68. At home, they were favored by 9, did not cover. On the road, they were favored by 3. They did not cover. They won that game 70-68, so they kind of like split the difference here on the neutral here, favored by 6 in this game. But they are currently minus 225 on the money line and minus 4.5 in play, down by a point.
Yep, our old friend Dave Malinsky always pointed out this angle, that this was a under dream with the shooting background and how the league has trended over time. And Makinen's got great numbers at the last 10 years. If the total's 131 or higher, that's a 65% underrun. So we do have an over in the books. This fit the criteria with a 132, as you mentioned, and you got a 149 in the Valpo, Illinois, Chicago game coming up. So we'll see if we didn't take a lot of under money, which usually happens.
Right.
The screen usually lights up as they pound the unders with every conference tournament game in Arch Madness. That didn't happen so far.
I have one bet, actually 2, but I kind of split the bet, and I made 2 bets out of 1 unit, actually. And that's coming up in the horizon. I'll tell you about that here in a minute. How many bets do you have on the action today?
I got 6.
6 games so far?
Yes.
What do you like?
Utah Valley, lane 3 against Abilene Christian. Adam Burke's on it as well. Utah Valley, this is not a tournament game. They're trying to get the 1 seed in the WAC. I like Illinois Chicago later tonight against Valpo, and I bet that. And there's a ton of other great angles in the horizon as well, and I had to take Omaha's on principle in the Summit. This is a 1 seed playing an 8 seed.
Yeah.
And the line opened 1.5. They swept Kansas City, and the games weren't close.
Yeah, and Kansas City stinks.
I don't get it. I don't get this at all.
Yeah.
The disrespect. As we mentioned, they're the 4th choice to win the league, even though they're the 1. They swept Kansas City, no problem. The game opens 1.5. I don't get it.
Yeah, this game also, like looking at the show for today, going back to last night, trying to like get the games and the schedule together. There was one game that really jumped off the page, and it just so happens that Adam Burke also has a terrific write-up on this game at vsin.com. I would encourage everybody to read all the write-ups that we have, analysis, predictions on all these conference tournaments, and it comes from the Horizon League as Purdue-Fort Wayne takes on Youngstown State a little bit later on. That is the 5 versus the 4 matchup. Youngstown, 1.5-point favorites, total hovering around 156 now, but I bet it over 154.5. Mm-hmm. I split it. I have a half a unit on that and also a half a unit on over 72.5 for the first half. So Purdue-Fort Wayne won the first game 90-81. They covered -6 and it flew over 147. And again, read this. Everything is free on the website, vsin.com. Until Selection Sunday, go to vsin.com/champweek and check it out. The second time, Youngstown blew them out 93-71. That was in February. And Purdue-Fort Wayne was -1. Total was 158.5 in that game. Flew over that number.
Mm-hmm.
So didn't fly over, but it went over, and I think it was kind of easy how it got there, actually. And today you have a total about 154.5. So based on looking at that, how this, by the way, conference is trending with the higher scoring games, and Burke had great analysis on it as well. It definitely put me on those two bets that I just talked about.
Burke's analysis is Youngstown State made the adjustments after what they saw from Fort Wayne and carved them up and took them out no problem. That's his analysis. Little VSiN on VSiN crime. Hoops makes Fort Wayne 3.5 in the game. So do with that what you want, but I'm with you on the over. And there's an incredible angle here from Makinen. You know, there's a guy in the industry that I like, but some of his stuff is so convoluted about if it's a full moon on a Tuesday and the temperature's 40 degrees in New Hampshire. But this stuff is easy with Makinen. In the horizon, home favorites of 5 points or fewer are covered 14 in a row. That's nuts. So that's Youngstown State and that's Cleveland State tonight. That fits that angle. There's another angle. You take the dog if they're catching at least 7 and they've already played a game against a team off a bye. That's 78% going back. What that's done. And
now, how about that now?
It's a large sample size, right? That's incredible. So this has also been the league that said we've seen chaos almost every single year, and the 1 seed goes out early.
Right. So that speaks to like most of these teams that are going to be on a bye week, or a bye actually leading into their next game, I should say, they're going to have the clear advantage, and you would think, okay, now the team's going to be tired that they're playing the next day. And some of these teams, like in these conferences, are going to be playing 2 games or maybe even 3 before they play their next opponent. But in this specific conference, again, it's been super strong for a team catching 6 points that they've already have a game in hand in the tournament.
Yeah. A little bit surprising, though. Yeah, but that's strong. That is incredible. 14 in a row with the home favorite 5 points or fewer as well.
Yeah, so the Patriot League is coming up tonight as well. Number 1 seed in that conference, Bucknell, they're laying 6.5 to Loyola, Maryland. Total 136.5. In that spot, the quarterfinal round of the Patriot League tournament has trended over. 29-11, the last 40. Patriot League tournament games with totals above 139, also going over. 31-10-1 since 2014 to the over. There's only one game tonight that meets that criteria. It's Army at Colgate. That total is 147.5.
What did you think here? Army, Colgate split. Navy split. Peterson, their dog, Peterson makes Navy 2.5, though. Bucknell swept. American swept. One of the wins was by only 2 points, though. A lot of support for Bucknell, though. And you see Colgate, what they're laying, too. That's surprising. That Colgate's up to 8 in some spots against Army. So this one's tough to figure out, but a lot of people think Colgate, who's won it 4 years in a row, could cash a ticket at 5-1 in that range.
Yep. 2 games coming up tonight in the semis of the A-Sun. Single-digit underdogs in this tournament are 25-26 straight up, but 33-16-2 ATS since 2014. That includes 2 games already in this tournament. And single-digit dog here, North Alabama in the 6-point range against Jacksonville. Jacksonville won at home back in January by 4. North Alabama got them back at their home spot, 92-79 in the middle of February. And now lane 6 here, like I said, with that angle going back. And the other one here does not qualify because Lipscomb, still around a 10-point favorite against Queens. Queens won on the road, 75-73 against this team back in January. And then Lipscomb got them 94-81 in Queens back in early February. This total is 142. The first game was 75-73. That would have been over the total. The second game was 94-81, which would have blistered by that total in the game.
Yeah. That's a lot of respect for Lipscomb. It's a lot of points. And I agree with the move with the over, too, as it's ticked up 3 points.
Yeah, I think I said it's 147 now.
Yes.
My apologies.
Yep. Tough one. I think I would take Queens with the points, and then the winners meet in the title game on Sunday.
Yeah, I'll give you one here, too. Oakland plays, this is in the horizon, Oakland plays at Wisconsin-Milwaukee. And UW there, lane 6.5, total around 144.5. Oakland won the first game, 64-49 as a 1-point dog. The game stayed way under 146.5. Milwaukee won the second game, 71-66. Oakland covered by the hook. Game stayed under 148. And here you have Milwaukee taking money now up to 7 in this game.
Yep. I agree with that. A lot of these are hard, though, because with the splits and not a lot of respect for the 1 seed Bob Morris, much like the Summit. that they're playing Wright State a 1-8. They also split, and that opened 5.5. But this is, again, we talked about this has been the league with a ton of upsets, though, but that's kind of like Omaha. What do you think St. Thomas does?
Well, hold on real quick
Yep.
on that Horizon League battle you just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how much the power rating has improved here for Robert Morris. When they played Wright State the first time, they were at home. The game was a pick'em.
What was the game? Did you say the date?
I don't. I think it was in January.
Wow. Interesting.
Wright State got them when they were at home. Wright State was 2.5 in that game.
Wow.
And now you have Bobby Morris laying 6.5 here tonight.
Yeah. Wild. That's These are tough because some of these with the splits and then bizarre power ratings. And then St. Thomas plays tonight, too. That's a little funky, where you get 2 games in the Summit, then the other 2 games happen Friday.
Yeah.
And then the winners of tonight then play Saturday, and the championship is Sunday night, which is bizarre. But I guess it's an edge for Omaha and St. Thomas as well. But again, St. Thomas can't go to the big dance, but they're eligible to win this with the stupid transition rule. So we'll see if they're able to get it done. In that bizarre scenario of St. Thomas wins it, Omaha goes.
Sure.
So Omaha still fans.
I'm not going to look. Plenty of people have made the case for St. Thomas to win this conference tournament. And I think
Yep.
it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. This is their Super Bowl, no doubt. We want to help you bet smarter this tournament season, giving you free VSiN Pro access through Selection Sunday. VSiN.com/championship week, as Mitch pointed out. Enjoy full VSiN Pro access instantly. Every best bet, every host, every guest. The betting splits from DK and Circa. The daily email from Bill 80. And the 24/7 video access as well. Get the VSiN Watch app. Don't miss out. Free VSiN Pro preview. Sign up now. VSiN.com/championship week through the 16th. VSiN.com/championship week.
Illinois State now leads Missouri State 20-17. About 6 minutes to go in the first half. Make it 21-17. They were a 6-point favorite before the game. Now in play, they are 7.5. Total is 130.5. The great Matt Vasgersian on the program coming up next. He has 2 Cy Young picks, a couple of Rookies of the Year, and we'll talk division prices, win totals, teams playing at new parks this year, all coming up here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
So here we are, all the madness going on. At Circus Sports, they have spring training games up every single day when you come in. Weather looks absolutely perfect. And opening day really not that far away. And to talk about some futures here in this sport, one of my favorite guests of the entire year, doesn't matter the sport, when he joins the program, Matt Vasgersian, now MLB Network, pops on as he has over the years, and he is on the Progressive guest line. Matty, great to talk to you as always. How are you?
Oh, it's good to be with you guys. I'm good. I mean, we're 3 weeks away, less than that if you count the Cubs and Dodgers in Tokyo. So it's time to get going here.
Yeah, yeah, you're not kidding. I'd say that I think 2 of the most popular division bets that I've heard over the last couple of weeks, one in each, the NL and the American League. It's the Reds and the Red Sox at a big plus price to win their divisions. Are you on board with either one?
Look, I think the Red Sox are a playoff team, but I have a hard time saying that they're better than the Yankees. I just don't believe that to be true at all. So winning the division, that's a little bit of a reach. Pizza money for them to grab a playoff spot, sure. As far as the Reds, that's a tough division to figure out because none of us thought Milwaukee was going to be as good as they were last year. And without Willy Adames, without Corbin Burns, a lot of their superpowers are gone. They're still going to be pretty good. The Cubs are a lot better. If Pittsburgh could hit a little bit, they've got 2 of the best starters in the National League. So the Reds, they still haven't figured out their rotation. And I don't know. I was waiting for them to do a little bit more in the winter before I anointed them a division champ caliber team.
Okay, very good. So as you said, Dodgers Cubs opening it up overseas, not that far from today. The win total for Los Angeles is 103.5. They are a super team, the defending champs. Can you find a way here to make yourself bet the under 103.5 wins for this team?
No, that's such a big stay away from if I'm out there looking for a team to get behind on a futures play. They could very easily win 104 games. They could match the 2001 Mariners, the 116 wins. I mean, they're that good. They're that deep. They've got a legitimate 10-man rotation, which is obscene. And, one of the tricky things about anything regarding the Dodgers and futures, especially from a pitching standpoint, is that nobody's going to throw more than 150 innings. There might not be one starter that gives you 130 innings. Sasaki's going to be limited in his first year in the States. Yamamoto, he's on a 6-day rotation, just like Sasaki. Glasnow's going to get his blow mid-season. Kershaw's not healthy to start the season. The only guy, and I do like him, even though he's one of the shorter shots for NL Cy Young, the only guy that might post every 5 days is Blake Snell.
Yeah.
And he's looked really good this spring. I mean, it's tough to get behind anybody that's a short shot for a postseason award. But if I had to pick somebody that's chalky, it would be Snell, because he's the only guy that's going to post in that lineup, in that rotation, that is.
What do you make of the NL East and the pecking order there with Atlanta, Philly, and the Mets?
Yeah, I mean, with Atlanta, there's still some questions about Strider coming back off an injury, about how much bubble wrap is going to be around Acuna. But even with those two question marks, it looks like Olson's finally gotten back to being consistent. His 2024 was mysterious. How you set a franchise record in homers and then make swing adjustments the following winter is beyond me. And it hurt him last year. They're still good, and so are the Phillies. The Phillies picking up Jesus Luzardo was such a sneaky, strong move, because that's as good a 4-man rotation as there is in the sport now. And I think with two guys in walk years, Schwarber and Real Muto, that can either lead to one of two things. And this is true of any player in a walk year. It either turns into a distraction or it motivates the heck out of guys to post career seasons. Neither one of those guys need that kind of motivation, because they're both pros. I've got the Phillies as the best team in the division, but it wouldn't surprise me if Atlanta catches them. All this discussion about the Mets winning the division is way premature. They've got some real pitching depth problems right now, with two of their projected starters hurt, with Soto overfed. I'm not buying the Mets to win the division quite yet.
Oh, okay, very good. Does Vlad Jr. get dealt before the deadline?
I sure hope not, but it feels like we're on a collision course for that. And, the cautionary tale is it's not real far back in the rearview mirror with how the Angels handled Ohtani in his year, where he was in a walk year and likely not to return. So if you make a deal for Vlad Guerrero, it's got to be the right deal. I still think, look, the price of poker went up for him when Soto got to $775. And, shame on the Jays for not being in front of that.
Yeah.
Because as soon as that was made public, Vlad said, well, I might have signed here for $350. It just went up to $550.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And I don't know if Toronto front office has the stomach for that kind of deal. It's too bad, because that's the kind of guy you give it to. He was born in Canada, for heaven's sakes. And, those guys up there, they love their own. I don't know what they're looking for. I hope he doesn't get dealt, but I'm afraid it's feeling like that might be possible.
This is right up your alley, and your tribute to the Coliseum. You grew up an A's fan. You went to games all the time. It was so good. So now we have two teams playing in minor league parks. It could be 100 degrees in the summer in Sacramento. There's a lot to this in terms of totals for the games and win totals. Also, what the ballpark is like with Tampa. I think it'd be in St. Pete's, Steinbrenner Field, and you could get a ton of rainouts. Take it away with what you see with Sacramento A's and also Tampa with the minor league ballparks, please.
Well, I think the industry assumption is that the ball is going to go pretty good in Sacramento, right? Especially when you get into those warmer months. The one that's interesting for me from a future standpoint is the Tampa situation, because while the Rays pitching staff is lamenting the fact that they no longer have that very mysterious mound where every right-handed sinker baller somehow had another inch and a half of extension. I still don't know the optical illusion behind that. The left-handed hitters are thrilled. Brandon Lau is the guy that I circle, and it's 314 to right at Steinbrenner Field. Right center is shorter than left center. So a left-handed pull power guy like Lau, I mean, he fits that description beautifully, who's hit 21 homers each of the last 2 years in fewer than 386 at-bats. That's a guy that could be licking his chops. He is a pure power hitter. He hit 39 a few years ago. And get him out of the trop, and we're talking about a real sneaky home run prop over. Now, he's not the kind of guy that every book writes a number on. So depending on where you play and where you shop, I'm not sure if FanDuel and DraftKings gives you a home run number on Brandon Lau, but if it's in the low 20s, as I like to say at MLB Network, get me to the window with an alias.
Yes, absolutely. I love that breakdown. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Matt Vasgersian, MLB Network, our guest here on the Progressive Guest Line. How many other home run props do you like for season-long bets in terms of different individual players?
Yeah, there's a couple other ones I think are interesting. And I always look for guys, especially on the pitching end, that are taking something different into the season. And I remember we had this discussion a few years ago when Corbin Burns won his Cy Young with the Brewers. It was, he added a cutter in the spring, and the Brewers people were secretly delighted with what it looked like in the spring, and he translated it into a Cy Young award. So on the hitting side, the Mets catcher Francisco Alvarez has made some really significant swing changes that have improved his balance and his consistency. And he's another guy. He missed some time last year. He's got some pop even when he was his previous self. He hit 25 homers in 2023. He hit only 11 last year, but he missed almost 2 months with a hand injury. That's why his number, the one I see, is at 18.5. That's just the middle number between his first and second years. I think he's good for 20-plus homers, especially in a lineup with a lot of protection around it now. You're going to worry about Alonso. You're going to worry about Soto. You're going to worry about Vientos. And here's Francisco Alvarez batting sixth that could sneaky pop you to 20, 25 homers by August. I like that. And I also like the Rockies first baseman, Michael Toglia. And look, I took the bait last year on a Rocky with a home run prop. I said, there's no way Chris Bryant doesn't go over 19.5. He could get there by June. And guess what? He didn't even come close. So buyer beware with the Rockies, but Toglia is a younger player, switch hits, and he's good from both sides of the plate. It's not like he's in jeopardy of sitting based on a pitching matchup. He's going to get 550 plate appearances this year. And his home run prop is pretty intriguing too. He hit 25 last year. And that's a guy that I'd look at as well.
Okay. So those are the three overall that you would look for?
Yeah. I really like Alvarez a lot. That's the one that really jumps out at me.
Maybe you can find like alternate home runs for him as well, like 20 plus, maybe even like 25 plus. Would you consider?
Sure, I would. And how do you not like Mike Trout at I saw at 22.5 for Trout, because, Mike's been hurt each of the last 4 or 5 years. So the computer math, and that's how they generate these numbers, it keeps coming down when a guy only has a handful of plate appearances. So you could get a real bargain number with Trout at 22.5.
All right, very good. We'll continue. One more segment coming up. Matt Vasgersian, MLB Network. He mentioned Blake Snell, Cy Young. Is that his official pick in the National League? We'll ask him coming up next. Also get his pick in the American League and who he likes to win Rookie of the Year in both leagues next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
More baseball here as the great Matt Vasgersian is kind enough to stick around for 10 more minutes. He's on the Progressive Guest Line, does a bang-up job with MLB Network every single year. Love talking to him on this program throughout the course of the Major League Baseball season, and these preseason spots are some of my favorites going back. I mean, the calls that you have had, Matt, over time with the Cy Young. You nailed both, I think it was, the year that you had Corbin Burns. I'm forgetting right now who was in the American League that year, but you came back with Sandy Alcantara in 1 year. You nailed him as well. So, and the analysis is as good as it gets. You did briefly mention that you don't like to go like one of the short guys on the board to win the Cy Young, and you threw out Blake Snell at 10-1 as a possibility. Is he your official pick, or would you consider him, or are you going to go somebody else?
I mean, he'd be my official pick if the whole board was open. But if you forced my hand and said, find somebody down deeper on the board, I'll identify another dude who's made a really significant change over the off season. And all the attention for the Pirates staff goes to Paul Skeens for obvious reasons. He's the shortest shot to win the National League Cy Young, which is amazing considering, he's a second-year guy. But for the right reasons, he's a stud. His staffmate, Jared Jones, has added a sinker to his repertoire, and apparently it's pretty good. So this is a guy who was primarily fastball slider last year in his rookie season. And that meant that right-handed hitters, you get deeper into an at-bat, you could look outside and kind of lean a little bit and cheat because he didn't throw his curveball or his changeup as much. Not only is his curveball a lot better, but he's added the sinker that'll run in on a right-handed hitter and looks the same coming out of his hand. So it's not just a show pitch. I don't think it's one of these stories where a guy makes a change in the spring and then doesn't use it once the light goes on April 1st. I think he's going to use it a lot. And so, I mean, remember the year that Barry Zito won his Cy Young Award? He was the number 3 guy in the rotation. All the love was going to Mulder and Hudson, and very quietly, Barry Zito matched up against everybody's number 3 and beat him up. So sometimes it's not a staff ace that wins a Cy Young. And Jared Jones at plus 4,500? Yes, please.
That's what we're looking for here. Okay. How about the American League then? Who did you land on in the Cy Young to win it over there?
You know, I can't get away from Garrett Crochet. He is just different. First of all, he's a beast. He's 6'6", 250. His strikeout ratio is insane. He's pitching in Boston now, where he's going to get a lot more, certainly, press attention, as opposed to dying a slow, painful death on the south side of Chicago with a moribund White Sox team last year. He is in a perfect place to become that guy. He's arbitration eligible after this year, so the Red Sox essentially have him for 2 seasons. I just think he's going to be an animal this year. And I was a year late last year on Tarek Skubal, a year early, I should say, because he was one of my picks the previous year, and he won it last year. So if I'm going to do that again this year, the guy that I was talking about with you last year at this time was Cole Reagans. I still like Cole Reagans as well. You get a better number on Reagans because Crochet is like the 3rd or 4th shortest shot for American League Cy Young market. I like both of those guys, but if you had to force my hand with one, it's going to be Crochet.
Okay, I'll follow that up with this. I almost cashed a ticket based on what you said last year with us on Reagans to lead everybody in strikeouts last year. I just missed out on that. I think he was 100-1. Would you consider? I think Crochet's number this year is like around 11-1 most strikeouts, maybe a little bit shy of that for the best number that I've been able to find. Would you consider Crochet or Reagans most strikeouts in the league this year?
I consider Crochet there before Reagans as a strikeout guy for sure. And he's also, no longer are you pitching in the unbalanced schedule where you get to strike people out in Baltimore and New York in 4 or 5 starts a year. But I think Crochet's more of a swing and miss guy than Reagans. Is that just to lead the American League in strikeouts?
You can actually find that at some books. That's to lead all of Major League Baseball.
Okay. I love him to lead the American League, and I think that's a pretty good bet to lead all of Big League Baseball, too.
What do you have Rookie of the Year?
My Rookie of the Year, this is just a gut thing. And there's 2 guys, and this is such a vague market, right? It's really hard to get out in front of this. What you look for are guys that are going to have an opportunity. And last year, I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth now because Skeens wasn't in the opening day rotation in Pittsburgh. He came up in May and won Rookie of the Year. So you can do it without having a guaranteed spot. The guy that finished 2nd and 3rd, like Jackson Churio, didn't start hitting until June, and Merrill was a role player until late in the spring last year. So I love Jacob Wilson of the Oakland A's because I was doing the game actually on the air with the Angels when he made his major league debut and then got hurt, unfortunately, and missed essentially the rest of the year. He did come back at the very end. Everybody I talked to about him from the top down says this guy straight hits. And you look at his minor league and college numbers, he hit 400 in the minors in almost 100 games. 400. So even if you hit a bunch of singles, if you hit 350 as a rookie, you're going to win the Rookie of the Year award. Going to play every day. He's the guy, and he's got a big league pedigree. His dad, Jack, played in the big leagues for a long time. Jack Wilson, who looks a lot like Steve-O from Jackass. Google that, and you'll be blown away at how much they look alike. Jack Wilson is my guy, and the other guy in the American League. And Buster Olney turned me on to this guy earlier. He's like, you got to look into Carson Williams. He's a young player with the Rays. His stolen base totals are absolutely obscene. If he gets on base, this guy could steal 100 bags in his rookie year. Carson Williams, outfielder with the Rays. Those are my 2 kind of downboard AL Rookie of the Year picks.
Beautiful.
Okay.
What would your favorite win total be?
Wow. Well, last year it was Oakland, and they had no problems exceeding that. I have a hard time tying up, long-term dough with win totals because the lines are so sharp. And, you don't want to look at the top of those things because, feel free to play the Dodgers over 103.5. I don't think that's a bad play at all. Everybody in the NL East is going to beat each other up. AL Central is going to beat each other up. Nobody seems to think Milwaukee is going to be as good this year, but their number is 83.5. So the markets are saying they're still a better than 500 team. I'm tempted to look at a team like the Blue Jays at 79.5 because there's so much variance there. Their veteran rotation could be pretty good. If the Vlad and Bo Bichette dialogue doesn't get distracting, they're going to be good this year. I love Joey Loperfido and Will Wagner, a couple of their young guys. The Nationals number is 71.5, and they still have some pitching depth problems. But if their young guys click, Cruz, Wood, Abrams, they're going to be sneaky good. So I'd probably look at teams like that, Toronto and Washington, more so than the Yankees and Dodgers of the world.
Sure. Can you make a case for anybody to win the National League MVP not named Shohei Ohtani?
Yeah, the only way that happens is if Shohei misses time. And the only guy that I'd consider backing at this stage of the game would be Elly De La Cruz. He is just absolutely electric. If he steals 60 bases, and I think his number is somewhere in the high 50s as a stolen base future, and if he hits 30 homers, which is absolutely possible, because he really improved last year from the right side. The criticism on him was he's electric from the left side of the plate and real pitchable batting right. He works really hard, and I've spoken to coaches on that staff that say he's not just one of these flashy guys who, with the hair and big long limbs is going to get on highlight reels. He works, and the proof's in the pudding. He improved dramatically. So he'd be my non-Ohtani NL MVP.
Okay, very good. By the way, did we go over National League Rookie of the Year, or were those the two guys you wanted to go with from the American League?
Yeah, those are the guys I have a feel for. Dylan Cruz is the short shot because he's a talented guy and he's going to have a whole complement of at bats this year. So if I had to pick one guy, that's just kind of that's not really a hot take because he's going to play a lot this year.
Sure. And the two teams who will be meeting each other in the World Series will be?
Oh boy, I keep saying the Phillies, and they keep disappointing me with these early exits. Why not back the Phillies again? Just because it's so boring to say the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I said at the beginning of the offseason that the Red Sox hold a key to the entire winter, and I don't think I was wrong with that. If they behaved like the big market team they are, and they have by acquiring Crochet and signing Alex Bregman, even though there's some discontent there internally, I think there are people that are. You got Tristan Casas saying, hey, I'm not coming off a first base. You got Devers saying, hey, I'm not coming off a third. We don't know what Alex Bregman's going to look like at second. I'm sure he's fine. He's super athletic. But it's not all hunky-dory there. They've got some things to figure out. I think the Red Sox could surprise people. Why not make this a year that the Red Sox contend for a World Series? Yeah,
I don't disagree. I'm very high on that team as well. Matt, you're the best. Thank you so much for 30 minutes today of your time. We really appreciate that. And have a good week, and we'll talk to you soon, okay, bud?
Good talking to you guys. See ya.
There
Great
you go.
job.
The
Thank
great you. Matt Vasgersian, MLB Network here on the Progressive Guest Line.
Crochet total wins, 10.5. De La Cruz stolen bases, 55.5.
Big number.
Isn't there a market on will a guy steal 80, 90, 100 bases?
But that has to exist, yeah.
Get that with Williams? Wow.
Yeah, been shopping around for the best numbers since he's been on with us. So we'll share some of those, and Paul's going to run down win-lose coming up next year on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. We're live downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard here on a Thursday. Time now for some best bets in college basketball as longtime college hoops bettor and handicapper Bruce Marshall joins the program with CBS Sports, sportsline.com. Bruce, good to talk to you. As always, how are you today?
Hey, I'm pretty good, Mitch. Ready for some more hoops tonight.
Absolutely. Let's begin. Big Ten, Michigan State playing on the road against Iowa. Same story with the Hawkeyes, I think, as we get every single year. But this year, they're a much worse version of it, where the defense is just pretty much pathetic. And the total here now is on the uptick as well, Bruce, from 151.5 to sitting at 155 as we speak. Sparty around 6.5, or now even 7 in this game on the road. What is your betting angle here for this matchup?
Yeah, Mitch, I can understand why the number's moving up. We've talked about Iowa. They are as soft as tissue paper. Now, one thing, though, I'll be careful about this total because Fran McCaffrey, who should be on the hot seat there, I think. I'm not sure if he is, but he should be. But he recognizes as much, too. And they've been dialing it back a little bit the last couple of games because he knows his team can't play defense. They can't play in transition because they can't stop anybody. So they have played a little bit slower pace. Has not helped, though. Illinois, Northwestern, both double-digit wins. They're only scoring 59 per game the last two, so that's not working for Iowa either. And they're about to miss the Big Ten tournament. That is a big no-no for in an 18-team league to be one of the bottom three. Watch Jace Richardson, this freshman for Michigan State. I mean, he has really given them an extra spark. And I'd lay it with Izzo, and I'd be careful on the total, though. I'm not going to commit anyway on the total, but I was playing a little slower the last few, so I'd watch on that one.
Illinois State just won and covered against Missouri State. It stayed under. Up next, Arch Madness, Evansville and Murray State. Any opinion on this game? Murray State about 5.5.
I love Evansville here. I've been going with Evansville a lot lately. You know, they started off the season really slow. They had some bad games. I mean, they scored like 30 points the game. They lost by 50 at Ohio State early. But once they started playing in the Valley, they weren't all that bad. Pozzato, the freshman from Italy, kind of flashy. Now, he was out. He missed about a month. And once he came back in, Evansville, and not all that bad. I mean, they've been winning some games. They've been covering a lot of numbers lately. And they did beat Murray State during the regular season at home. Tayshawn Comer, the other guard. Now, he and Pozzato out there in the wing. That's a pretty good combo they have out there. And like I said, they've been covering games, I think, 5 in a row. Some close losses in there. They can win this game. So this is a dog for me in Arch Madness tonight. Evansville, I'll take the Purple Aces.
They can win it outright. Man, you love to hear that. Bruce Marshall, our guest here, and he is on the Progressive guest line. I'll throw this one at you. I think this is an intriguing game out of the A-Sun. Queens now a big dog after they upset Florida Gulf Coast in the first round of this tournament. They get Lipscomb, the number 1 overall seed, but I'll give you this. It is official here. The first bid could be handed out tonight. If North Alabama wins and Queens beats number 1 Lipscomb, North Alabama clinches the A-Sun's bid. A league spokesman confirmed that today to ESPN.
Queens still has to.
That will happen, yeah.
Queens has in the transit. Oh,
that's correct. So, having said that, Bruce, 10 points here is the number. Total is 147.5. What do you have?
Yeah, I normally like Queens, and I like the whole story there, and the Royals and Charlotte and all that. They've been kind of fun, and it was a nice upset the other night. I think this is where it hops off. Lipscomb is the team to beat in this tournament. And by the way, Nashville is a great college hoop city. You got Lipscomb, you got Belmont, you got Vandy, you got Tennessee State. Hey, we could move there, and we could have a lot of fun. I might move there, actually.
You might move there, right?
Yeah, but no, Lipscomb is really, now they're playing this at home, and I think Lipscomb's going to end up winning. They have been really hot. They won 9 out of 10. How about this? Jacob Ognjenovic, 6'8" forward, but he can do everything. He's scoring better than 20 per game, almost 60% from the floor, better than 40% beyond the arc. Nobody can stop this guy in the league. They won at Charlotte last month, scored 94. They are destroying teams lately here. I think this is where Queens hops off the carousel tonight. Lipscomb's going to end up winning this tournament, and they're going to be a team that you might want. There'll be a 12 or 13 probably in the dance. I'd watch these guys. They could be kind of dangerous. All
right, we're covering all the conference tournaments here. How about the Patriot League with the quarterfinals tonight in Bucknell?
Yeah, another team here I think is one to beat in the Patriot. Bucknell has played really, really well lately. They're on a nice uptick. They did just beat Loyola last week in Baltimore. It was kind of a close game, but it was in Baltimore. They're playing this one in Pennsylvania, and Bucknell is right around where they near Williamsport there, right where it's Lewisburg, but it's very close to where the Little League World Series is. So that's where they're playing this one tonight. But Bucknell has a real force in this league. When you get a 7-footer in the Patriot League who can play, I mean, that's bad news for the rest of the league. Noah Williamson, he scored 20 plus in 10 of the 18 Patriot games this season. They beat Loyola pretty handily in the first meeting. And Loyola Maryland's one of these very unremarkable this year, 6-12 in the Patriot. A team like that wins one game in the conference tournament like they did in the play-in round against Lehigh. That's usually good enough for them. Bucknell wins. They're on a collision course with American U in this tournament. Right now, they're hotter than American U. I think this is the team that's going to get out of the Patriot, and I like them laying the points tonight.
Very good. Excellent breakdown. Horizon League quarters. Bottom teams at home. Home court here. No neutral yet. Cleveland State against Northern Kentucky. Cleveland State, a small favorite.
Yeah, Paulie, winners here get to Indianapolis next week, and so that'll be for the semis and the final next week. But I think this is a very, very wide-open tournament. Now, I wouldn't have said that about a month ago when Cleveland State was on a 12-game win streak, but they have faded here down the stretch. They've lost 4, 6, 5 of 8. The slide sort of started when they lost a game at Northern Kentucky last month. The defense has really sagged lately for Cleveland State, and Northern Kentucky is hot, baby. That's 5 straight wins for the Norse coming into this tournament. They're scoring a lot of points, 99 in poor Detroit the other night. So they're spreading the wealth pretty good. And lots of different. Trey Robinson, very good go-to guy in the backcourt. So everything comes from the perimeter for these guys. But this is a league where you could see an upset, and Cleveland State going the wrong way. I will take Northern Kentucky. This is one I think could be an outright winner too.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right. Follow the money, Paulie and Mitch Visa, the Sports Betting Network. Bruce Marshall, he's on tomorrow as well. He's on the Progressive Guest Line, CBS Sports Line, talking college hoops. 2 from the Big West. UC San Diego's on a mission. Top 5 in the nation in point differential. They're great shooting threes. They've been blowing people out. They're playing Strong Beach. They're laying 22.5.
Yeah, Short Beach, actually. I mean, and that's my alma mater, believe it or not, so I'm not too pleased with what's going on with the beach. But UCSD, I watched them a couple of weeks ago up at San Luis Obispo. This is a fascinating team to watch. It's basically interchangeable. It's five guys that play all the positions. I joked off air there. This is like if Johan Cruyff was coaching a basketball team, this is what they'd look like. Everybody can shoot threes. They lead the nation in turnover margin and points off at turnovers. They're one of the lowest, top turnover margin teams. You guys mentioned that about their scoring margin. Hit threes, and they're killing people. And I think, they're in a point they could almost, if they get to the Big West final and they lose, they would still have a shot on an at-large. You usually don't see that from a Big West, but they've been killing teams. And the beat. Yeah, and the Beach is already out of the Big West tournament. It's been a miserable year for Long Beach. They have covered a couple numbers, but they were killed by these guys at home last month. I'm just going to keep riding UCSD. This is about 11-game win streak, and I think they've covered every one of those if you got the right number against Northridge last week. So go with these guys. Got a lot of big wins.
Great point. Yeah. You're right. Number 1 team, ATS as well. Mitch had that yesterday. One more. Cal State Fullerton's terrible. Taking on Cal Poly. Cal Poly laying 14.5.
What we got at this stage of the season, boys, are these teams like Fullerton, and we had one with Green Bay the other night. Green Bay actually covered a couple numbers lately, but when you get these really bad teams at the end of the season, we're running out of chances to use these teams going against them. So we got to do it. We got to go against them. And Fullerton, the numbers Fullerton has are so abysmal. I mean, they haven't scored more than 56 their last 4 games. They are right near the bottom nationally in scoring per game, just barely over 60. They are the worst 3-point shooting team in the country, 26.9. So Cal Poly's not bad, and they win these next 2 games. They're in the Big West tournament. They get Long Beach on Saturday. So, Fullerton hasn't been closer, than what 15 in the last 10 games here. Cal Poly, I'll lay it tonight up in beautiful San Luis Obispo.
Love the analysis every single time that you're on, Bruce. Thanks so much. Good luck tonight. We'll talk to you tomorrow, okay?
Okay, boys. Thank you.
Yep, back at you. There you go. Bruce Marshall, longtime college basketball bettor on the Progressive Guest Line.
Well done.
I guess the one good thing that Fullerton has going for them is that right outside of campus, there's that Portillo's.
Okay.
That we drove right by their campus when we flew in there to have it last year.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Let's go to Tennessee. Have some fun. Nashville.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Excellent. He's on tomorrow. Can't wait because this really heats up too tomorrow.
Yeah, we got free pro access all the way through March 16th. Go there, check it out, vsin.com/champweek. Daily best bet on the email, access to exclusive betting splits, 24/7 video access as well. It's all there, vsin.com/champweek.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.